So, as the Yosoki and Shirin of the party deliberate their next action, we kind of cross back to the very haggard, breath, sand-filled. As you regain consciousness, you buried heavily, almost like a lawn dart, into a dune. Feel the sand kind of like has already, you're like waking up trying to figure out which way is up, which way is down. You like sit up. Everything hurts. You are at 1 HP. You have no stamina. As you like sit up, you feel there's some broken bones. Yeah, there's okay. Ooh. Your everything hurts.
Yeah.
As you kind of groanly sit up, you're assaulted with just the unfiltered light kind of coming down at you. As you kind of reach to like turn on your environmental protections, as the heat is already just oppressive, you're slapping on your kind of output, or like your suits, connections, and you like look down, it's shattered, and you're now like looking down at yourself. Your armor is just in pieces. Like you're seeing, like you see as you kind of like try and sit up to like assess everything. You feel like there's a piece of the armor that's like kind of, you swear, like pierced into your side a little bit, and as you like are looking around, you kind of reach into your pack. Everything there is broken.
Shit.
Kind of moving to the side, you see now that you've regained consciousness, you see that silver moat of energy is still kind of like nearby, though it's like, you're really like concentrating on it now. Like it's, your solar weapon is still obviously functional as long as you're conscious, but you are just really, you're looking around and all of your stuff is broken. Your communicator, even as you kind of try and like tap it, dead.
Not even a boop or a spark?
Nope. Absolutely shattered.
Shit. Well, I guess first things first, I want to use my sidereal influence to attune to photons so I can get the bonus to survival, and that takes 1 minute to prep.
Okay, and we'll say that in the moment, trying to like assess, how you are like physically, you're like using that time to like really kind of focus on that, and
Power of the cosmos.
Now, feeling that attunement shift. Open your eyes. Again, it's every time you open your eyes, you gotta like kind of squint almost, as like the light is just bearing down on you, and it seems like the wind is still just kicking this like very abrasive dirt into your face as you kind of like trying to shield yourself. It's really just.
Can I use the, rags of my duster to make some sort of like mask to try to keep most of the sand off me?
You have like the torn remains of your duster, and you like have you have just enough to kind of like make yourself like a very, very ramshackle kind of like mask at this point, and it's keeping out some of the dust. It's just very like it's functional.
Yeah. That's
at
all I
best.
can ask for.
So.
Oh boy. I guess my next move is going to be, I want to look at the crater I created, and I guess the path I skidded, and try to see if I can find
Okay, so you're
skid.
Looking around in the area, perception check.
That was cocked.
Completely. Yeah, it was totally cocked.
In a big way.
18.
18? Okay. You're like trying to get your bearings on like where you came from. You guys have traveled far enough, it seems like you're not really sure what's a mirage on the horizon, like trying to look for the canyon that you guys came from.
Right.
And you didn't really spend a whole lot of time like orientating yourself, which way you guys were going. Just best guess, you're unfortunately just trying to, look for Skada in the meantime, and it seems like with the shifting of the sands, with the wind, you know, you're not really sure.
Actually, it's a little washed away.
A lot of you know, whatever impact you had made, you can see kind of like like looking off behind you, because your like back is now like kind of against the dune, and you see looking just forward ahead, you can see like a very kind of slight divot in the dune path, like past yours. You know, you're guessing with the height and kind of like just looking at where you're at, that probably the direction you came from. I mean, you're not really sure. You kind of like, you know, lost consciousness after slapping the first dune.
Yeah. I mean, that's my best guess to go off of.
So you just kind of like get up, and yeah, you can feel like you're hesitant to even take off your armor at this point, because you're not sure what's, you know,
what's broken and
what's
still holding me together.
Yeah, what's in you and what's like not. Your ceremonial armor is destroyed, so you do not have the environmental protections. You do not have the AC from it. It's really just kind of broken armor on you.
Yep.
So like the functionality of that would provide the AC is gone.
So it's just pretty much dead weight right now.
In a way, yeah.
Can I guess, try to remove as much as I can without hurting myself too much?
You like pull off the you know, like gauntlets, and you can kind of very painfully like reach down and detach the ones on your legs, the, like greave plates. But as you try to like remove your chest piece, you feel like there's definitely something piercing your side, and if you took it out, you're not
pulling the cork out of the dam.
Essentially, yeah. The already leaky dam might start flooding. So, you know, you get that kind of like sort of like white noise every time you try and like move. So it's just like you're really just trying to keep yourself steady. And as you're like really breathing heavy, something catches your attention off to the right. You see something off, probably about like 50 feet or so, you know, along the spine of the dune. Mm-hmm. You're not sure really what it is, but it seems to be like something that's kind of flapping in the wind.
I want to go scope it out, shamble my way over there.
So you kind of shuffling over, you see it's some sort of piece of clothing, and it's like barely the edge of it is visible, and you kind of like
reach out and grab it.
Alright. You pull, and it looks to be the kind of tattered remains of Skada's hat. You don't see anything underneath it. You just see the hat itself.
Can I scan around my surroundings, see if there's any other signs of Skada?
Another perception check.
Let's see. 19.
Okay. You see just dunes all around you. You notice kind of in a similar direction as that divot, on that same kind of span, you see probably about another 100 feet, you know, like down this dune and up the other one. You see some sort of like avian creature kind of like kind of flopping up on the sand, and then you see another one kind of like they're like fighting with each other, and eventually they kind of like seem to kind of move and like seem to
I want to go check
move down
it
the dune
out,
on the opposite side.
but before I move over there, I want to try to make as best of a mental map as I can for like my angle of my fall, and like I guess the position I will.
Just trying to orient yourself on like where you guys have
where
come
I
from.
am, and I guess where I'm going to. Just
Survival
so I
check.
don't lose myself.
Yeah.
So
As you start walking, as you kind of like before you leave the top of this
10.
dune. 10. Did you add your bonus from your? Okay. You through the pain. You kind of
11.
11.
Yeah, I didn't add my ability modifier.
Yeah. As you're like looking around, you kind of have an idea of where you're going, but with like the shifting of the sands, you know, and the condition you're in, you're having a really tough time like keeping all this mentally in your head through like the piercing pain. So you head down and give me an athletics check as you're going down and up the dune. As you're just trying to
Natural 20. You said athletics?
Yep.
20.
Okay. So the kind of
I may be hurting, but I'm still an athlete.
You're able to
Push
find
through
your
the
footing, even though you're going directly down a sand dune, you know, which would normally like, you know, yeah. You're able to, pretty handily get down, and you kind of zigzag your way back up. And as you're cresting the top, you see just this very scaly equivalent of like a vulture, kind of looks like. It's got, you know, very like reptilian style, kind of like feathers, quote unquote. But as you get up to the top, it's like double sets of eyes as it like looks at you, and it's not.
Wave it, shoot away.
Okay, intimidation check.
It's a hardcore shooter right there.
11.
Okay.
Probably write down
11 total?
two. Yeah, 11 total.
It doesn't seem, Jesus, that rolled really low. It doesn't seem to be like, you know, particularly intimidated, but like you like try and kick out at it and you like wince as you do it. and eventually it just kind of like a gust of wind kind of catches it, so it like flies away, and you see another two down about halfway down the dune, and they seem to be tearing at something.
I want to move up towards those ones.
Okay, so you're coming down now, and you're like, you know, having an inkling of what might be going on. As you get down there and you're like doing the similar kind of situation, you're like shoving them off, and it seems like, you know, whatever storm was off on the horizon, like you get some kind of like wind kind of kicking you. Brace yourself as like the birds kind of fly away. As you come down, you see half buried, very much torn into remains of Skadon. You see,
Gonna yell at Skadon and hurry up to him as quick as I can.
Weekly.
As you like now are just basically kind of like and like sliding down next to him.
Doing the herd gallop.
Yeah. You get down, and it is not a pretty sight. You see his limbs are contorted in ways that should not be possible. You see that the creatures were tearing at part of his shoulder that's now exposed down to a good portion of his like muscle and things like that. And even though his face is like buried in the sand, you know, you can still see like there's just kind of like, luckily his face is kind of untouched as you kind of flip him over, and there's, you know, not a lot of external damage besides, you know, kind of the shape of the limbs and everything like that. But as you kind of, if you want, you can certainly give him a medicine check.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's more just for
12.
effort. You know, unfortunately, it seems like however he had died, it was, you're guessing, probably pretty quick. So
That's some comfort.
yeah, and looking at him, you know, unfortunately his state is not much, you know, I mean, it's obviously worse than yours as far as he being alive versus dead, but his, you know, equipment, it seems to have received similar damage, and you know, you look at his comms and also broken. You don't even see his weapon.
Would I don't know, be able to, I guess, try to jury rig our comms together to see if maybe we can get enough working parts out of both of them to send out some sort of SOS?
You can give me an engineering check.
Okay, my guy's not too bad. Let's see how this goes. Nope.
Make this guy come alive.
Just a 2.
Just a 2? Yeah, unfortunately, like through the pain and frustration of, you know, this situation, you have no idea.
Hot water? What's that smell? Just blew out a can. Oh.
Not to desecrate his corpse or anything like that, but would I be able to get whatever tatter remains of his jacket I could.
You're the only one here.
Guess I'll try
I
to
mean,
get
you,
more.
you see like the birds circling overhead, but I don't think they're quick to judge.
Yeah.
Don't judge me, birds.
Well, I want to say a quick little prayer before I just, I guess, loot his body for whatever scrap I can find.
It's the tattered remains of his like coat is really the only thing functionally, and that's even in worse shape than yours. You know, so I mean, it's like, you know, you take the time to pull off the remains of his coat. You know, I mean, you could maybe make like something to cover your head with it, but
Is his hat still intact enough to use as a hat?
functionally, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's very torn. Like the top, the front portion of it is like sheared and like it's like ripped to shit. But I mean, it could still cover your head.
Guess I'd want to do like a combo, I guess. Use the rags from the coat to cover the head first, and then put the hat on top of it, and just try to get as much of a brim as I can.
Yeah,
Get going.
and you're able to do so. You know, it's not really fitting well on your head specifically. You know, but I mean, it's just kind of like the shape of the hat. But also, you know, with putting stuff underneath it, you're able to get
Okay.
some sort of head cover.
Are there any like, I guess, noticeable landmarks nearby? Tall rock outcroppings or an exceptionally tall dune?
You can go back to the top of the dune and give me a survival check.
Yeah, I'll do that.
How are you at survival?
Not good at all. That's why I did this sidereal influence to help me a little bit.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Nice.
14 plus 2, 16.
16. You get to the top of the dunes, and similar to before, you know, now that you're a little more focused on surviving, with the kind of heat waves coming off of like everything, it's very hard to tell, you know, what's solid and what's not. Looking back in the distance, you still unfortunately can't see where you guys came from. You might have something. You think you see maybe some like rocks and some sort of rock formation to the north, a good distance away, almost on the horizon.
Wow. Just as a guesstimate, how far away are they?
You're not sure. I mean, just with the heat mirages and everything like that, it's far, on foot especially. But you know, that's really the only landmark that you see.
Are there any, I guess, rock outcroppings in the valleys of the dunes nearby?
This is where you ended up is essentially as a desert as you get. You know,
dunes?
just dunes of
and
sand.
No cacti or plant life anywhere?
Hackathon is a harsh plant.
Right.
Whatever wildlife does grow here is very sparse, and in this area, especially with, you know, where you ended up, it seems luck was definitely not on your side, as you are in a very desolate area.
Right. Shit. I don't want to wander too far off the path I fell into. And that rock outcropping sounds like it's too far. So. Oh. Everything's fucking broke, dude. In the middle of nowhere. Are those birds still nearby?
They're kind of circling around. One of them has kind of like landed about 25 feet from you and is kind of like hopping back and forth, like looking like it's trying to get at Skada.
Okay.
Suck out his soul, bring it into Skada's body. You are now bird dog.
How's the tarp on my emergency tent, or is that just shredded to shit?
All your equipment is destroyed. Like, with just judging by even that being in such a condition, you are very lucky to be alive.
Yep.
Very lucky to be alive. in such a state as you are.
You don't
Am
have
I?
all your weapons are broke too.
Yep, all my
I
weapons
need
are broke.
I need you to make a fortitude saving throw. As you're now like starting to like your vision's starting to get a little bit blurry.
Okay. Plus 4, 19, 23.
Okay. The heat, while it's you don't know what it is like at approximately, it is getting to be pretty hot as the sun is starting to get higher in the sky.
It's gonna be noonish, right?
Your best, I mean, with when you were unconscious, I mean, you haven't been in Akaton before, so you don't know what the day-night cycle is.
Right.
It might be similar to like what's on the station, but I mean, with the heat, the amount of injuries you have, it's getting hard to really tell. You're really not sure. Basically, I mean, in this situation, it's starting to dawn on you that you probably need to find some sort of cover very quickly.
Yeah.
Like your fortitude save was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but you feel the longer you're out here with no supplies, no protection, I mean, it's gonna end up one way.
Are there any smaller stones nearby, like handheld size?
Perception check.
11.
It's just sand. And when I meant heart of the desert, I was not kidding. Like you, in trying to look for something to use in whatever faculty you're trying to do, it is just handfuls of sand as you're kind of like looking around.
I guess I'm gonna go down to the lowest valley, dune valley I can find. It's nearby, and start digging myself into the sand dune just to get out of the sun. Try to dig myself as deep as I can to where I guess I'm insulated from the heat.
Okay. Going down, you're not really seeing a good spot where you're at right now. With the sun starting to creep above you, there's very few in the immediate area. You might have to start looking around in a larger radius.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, let's do that.
okay, so you leave the area. You give kind of Skidaw's body one final look, and
Say a little prayer before we go off.
as you leave, unfortunately, kind of not being really able to look back as you hear, and the unfortunate,
I don't want to watch that.
yeah. Make a survival check as you're trying to search the surrounding dune area.
17.
Found an area that might work. I mean, in this situation, you'll take anything. It's sort of almost like it looks like two dunes kind of connect and then veer off into like a random direction. So you're not sure if it'll hide you when the sun's highest in the sky, but
Right.
at this point, you'll take anything.
Okay. Let's start digging, I guess.
Okay. All right. So you dig in. The sand, unfortunately, is very
Hot.
coarse and hot. Yeah, your hands, being like your gloves are still like tattered, so like the sand's getting in there and it's like abrasive as shit. Like you're starting to get kind of like your hands are starting to get scratched up because the sand is very coarse too.
Take 1 point of damage, you're unconscious.
Yeah. It's kind of superficial, really, but I mean it is not.
Not pleasant.
It's not pleasant, but at this point you're just past the point of caring. So you're like digging in. Sand just keeps sifting in there. You get like a little divot, but I mean it's really not a lot of cover. So it's.
You said the dunes are like, kind of like that.
No, it's more like if you were to say, like just going off of the spines of the dunes, it's kind of like this, and they kind of like meet here, and then they trail off in a random direction, and then kind of get tangent, sort of like that. They slough down here.
Mm-hmm.
Like this area is where you're like finding that cover,
Okay.
but again, it's not complete cover from the sun. Like
Right.
the sun is tracking across the sky, and even in this cover, it's still hitting you.
You got a white brim on though.
Yeah.
And a nice bonnet.
I'm thinking if I do start moving towards those rocks, it's going to be a long ass walk, and I don't know if I'll be able to succeed all those toughness checks.
It's up to you. Right now, it's either hunker down as you have been doing, or figure out
It's a
something
risk.
else.
It's a risk.
Yeah. Either way, it's a risk.
Yeah.
But I'd save more energy and probably less risk if I just stay put.
But will you, if you rest up here, will you get a little bit of hit points back or stamina?
Probably not.
You would need to recover health naturally. You need 8 hours of uninterrupted rest. In these conditions,
You need to
that's
find those rocks.
very likely not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not sure even if you'd last 8 hours
Yeah.
in that regard. Just being the middle of the day,
Yeah.
like not even the middle of the day yet. So, I mean, this is again entirely up to you on what you're doing.
Well, no, that rock outcropping is like the only thing you can see from that position, right?
Yep.
Well,
Like I said, I mean that.
if I'm not at the spot where I crashed, the most logical place would be the only place available. So these guys would probably check there. And I'll start moving to the rocks, I guess.
Okay.
Don't really have much of a better option.
All right. So as you make that.
As I'm moving, I want to try to like keep those tatters, I guess, covering my skin as much as possible. Giving me as much shade as possible as well, if I can.
Okay. So.
Make an
With-
umbrella out of Skedaddle's bones.
with dangerous heat, just so you know, you can attempt a survival check to receive a bonus to the saving throw.
Okay.
So just as you're leaving, this is where that can come into play, because you're making that long distance, kind of trek.
I was hoping there was
So.
rocks nearby so we could zing one out of Vulture, maybe kill him and eat it, drink its blood, get some sort of moisture.
Use his feathers and take his wings like Kratos and fly away.
Or just like make a fucking jacket
So-
out of his wings. Just
Give me a survival check as you're about to head out. 'Cause this will give you decide if you get a bonus to the enduring the heat danger.
9.
9 total.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the patchwork cover that you have doesn't really give you that much protection, other than peace of mind. Really, in the long run. At the pace that you're going, I need you to give me 2 fortitude saving throws.
2 fortitudes. Fortitude.
Two fortitude.
Is that an 18 plus my toughness? 22.
Okay.
It's like
Plus
5.
my natural fortitude. 26.
Yep. Okay. All right.
And another one?
Yep. Another one, because this trek is gonna take you
21, 25.
as you're walking. Okay. And just let you know, as this continues on, the DC climbs.
Yep.
So
That's fair.
approximately each hour it goes up and up. So just for transparency, it starts at a 15 and now has gotten up to the DC will be that was 16, 17. The next one's going to be 18.
Okay.
But after 2 hours, the rocks that seem to be a long distance away are starting to get a little bit closer. You're seeing that it's a much larger rock formation than you had, guessed. And still kind of looking around, it's definitely the only definitive cover that you can find in the area, and it'll probably take you another hour to get there.
Would he be able to do that fortitude thing? Or
Nah.
survival check to get the bonus?
What if I take a fiber and then move on again?
Well,
Because it took him an hour to get to where he is now.
yeah, I would say so. So go ahead and do a survival check again to kind of pull the.
So close
try and
to
pull
the
it
18
down.
though. I
Yeah.
saw it.
There was a
Boom.
20 on the backside too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you don't get the bonus to it. And yes, technically you would be able to use a survival check to try and avert those heat dangers each hour. You passed easily with the other two. So as you trek this last hour towards the rock formation, I need to give you one more fortitude saving throw.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Fuck.
What's your total?
Is it plus 8, 11?
11?
Yep.
Alright.
I'm down.
You get about halfway there. You take non-lethal damage, but you see it and you're willing your body, but it just doesn't respond. And as you're getting closer, and you start to feel the legs kicking out from underneath you, and you lose your footing and you slip down the dune. And as you roll and consciousness leaves you, you swear you hear the sounds of footsteps.
Oh, fuck. I hope it's you guys. That's my last thought before I slip into dreamland.
And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Fuck.
You're not dead.
I'm not dead.
You're not dead.
You're not dead.
You're not dead.
The best,
Not dead.
best outcome so far.
Chup chup.
And you have no visible weaponry on your person, so
It's
they're
nothing.
going to think you're
All
just
of
like
his
the
stuff
thing
is
alone,
broken.
That's it.
Well, when you lose consciousness, that
Oh, yeah, that goes
disappears.
Up too.
He's a
So you're
desert
just-
So
hermit.
you are.
I
desert
really
You
guy.
hope
are-
it's you guys. Fingers crossed.
We'll see.
Arms crossed, legs crossed.
Next
toes
time.
crossed, biceps crossed.